If Anthony Mantha can get a second and a fourth round pick from Vegas,
you should get a third.
You should get a third for Tyler Johnson. Yeah. Blackwell, probably a fifth rounder, maybe.
Yeah. See, I think if it's a fifth rounder for Blackwell, I just keep him.
Well, and I wonder what their desires are too.
Yeah.
Like they might say like, hey, I kind of want a chance at playing some meaningful games here rather than sticking around. And if that's the case, then yeah, I mean, if a team is going to offer you something for that, I feel like Kyle Davidson's the kind of GM that'll help oblige those guys and those desires if that happens to be the case. If trade deadline comes and goes and Colin Blackwell is in the lineup Saturday night, fine.
No, yeah,
give him an extension. Like keep him around. If he's here after Friday, keep him around because he's the kind of guy that I think in the locker room and on the ice, as we talk about this clearly defined 2-year gap between now and when things are being set up for the new era to like fully be here and like that next step of the rebuild to be like quote unquote done. Blackwell fits that mold.
Yeah, I mean, I have no issue if you don't trade him. I have no issues if you bring him back. I know, as we discussed last night, about needing to get some more NHL talent, and if they do go out and bring in, say 2 established veteran free agents, and you do have Taylor Hall ready for day one, and Anthony Ciu's back, and hopefully Reichel's back, and then maybe Macklin Celebrini, and then maybe a Colton Dach. Like, do you have room for Colin Blackwell?
Maybe.
I mean, if he gets pushed out because you just have too much NHL talent, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I think there's some guys that are on expiring deals that they could move on from. That if Blackwell was still around, he'd still be in the lineup for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the speed, which puts him ahead of a lot of the other guys. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why he's in the lineup every night.
Yeah,
and other guys are shuffled.
His speed, his tenacity, and he always seems to be one of the guys that like plays the way that when Richardson is really hammering home the like we need you to play simple, finish checks, play north and south. Like that is what Blackwell does best. So, that gets rewarded with this team.
And remember last year too that we were expecting, even though the Hawks did make a lot of moves, we were expecting a lot more. But Kyle Davidson had sort of set his price of saying, like for Athanasiou, I'm not just going to trade him for nothing.
Right.
So he kept him around and then ended up re-signing him. Like there are a couple other examples of that last year too. And I think he's probably got a price in his head for Blackwell saying, look, is a 5th-round pick good enough for me to move on from this guy who has really been kind of a heart and soul guy since he's come back? He's been an effective player.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, like he's added a little more than we all expected him to. The guy he's been since he's come back from injury is what we kind of expected from him to be since jump last year. And it really took all of last year and the injury this year for him to come back and really be the guy that we were sort of promised. So I don't know. It's an interesting. I think what he says is, you want Colin Blackwell? I'm picking up. I'll answer the call, but I've got a number. I got something in my head, and if you don't hit it, I'm not. Well, I'm under no pressure to move it.
We all silly like the mayor.